Thanks for joining us on this edition of National Focus. I'm Kimani. Coming up, Dominica's head of state makes proposal to the President's Charities Foundation. PAHO Director Dominican Dr. Carissa Etienne makes her first official visit to Dominica, and teachers receive vital information on delivering health and family life education. Details of our headline stories and others after this.
Wash your hands. I am Adora Tuse, health educator from the Ministry of Health. Proper hand washing protects against the spread of many common illnesses and germs. Wash your hands often with soap and water, or you may use a hand sanitizer. Remember, clean hands save lives. Protect yourself.
A message from the Health Promotion of the Ministry of Health.
Did you know the Caribbean Court of Justice is two courts in one? The CCJ has two functions: an original jurisdiction, which deals with your right to move between CARICOM countries freely and your right to move your money and your business. This is the basis of the CARICOM Single Market and Economy, CSME, and the revised Treaty of Chaguaramas, and an appellate jurisdiction to hear appeals from courts of those countries which decide to use it as their final court of appeal and no longer go to the Privy Council. All CARICOM member states who have signed the agreement establishing the CCJ are members of the CCJ.
Thanks for staying with us. Director of the Pan American Health Organization, Dominican Dr. Carissa Etienne, made her first official visit to the island state since her term began in February 2013. Dr. Etienne arrived on island last Saturday, accompanied by PAHO representative for Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean, Dr. Godfrey Shreb. Together with Shirley Augustine, a local PAHO representative, the director has so far accomplished quite a bit. On Monday, Dr. Etienne paid a courtesy call on Dominica's President, His Excellency Charles Savarin, followed by Acting Prime Minister Honorable Dr. Colin McIntyre and Honorable Foreign Affairs Minister Francine Baron. The director met with the island's Honorable Health Minister before heading to La Plaine, the birthplace of primary health care in Dominica. Belgian Euseb, the famed Matopi, who is now 103, was a large part of that trip to La Plaine.
Is you Dr. Etienne?
Yes.
Let me shake your hand.
Yampe. C'est mère là. Il a bon goût, non? Yampe à street ou qu'à prendre l'eau à mettre tes sacs. C'est tac. Non, yo avec comme ça.
Ouais, de l'eau yampe.
Yeah.
Tonton empilé. Ma bouche en pierre sur l'huile. Ma bouche en pierre sur l'huile. Car on va lui prendre toute la l'eau yampe empilé.
The visitors were also treated to some of Matopi's famous talents.
Through the darkness, night and brighter day, be at their side, O Lord. Hold their hands and guide them on their way. Hold their hands and guide them on their way. Amen.
Director Etienne described her visit as full. She told the GIS News on Monday what stands out to her on this trip.
There is still a very strong commitment in Dominica to ensuring access to health care, and there is even a stronger commitment to help build on the successes of the past, and that PAHO will be certainly working with the government of Dominica.
Dr. Shreb, representative of PAHO and the World Health Organization to Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean, agreed that the island's commitment to a working primary healthcare system is clear. He also told GIS News what it's like to work with the new director, especially as she visits PAHO member states.
I've been in my position now for 1 year, but I have known Dr. Etienne for a long time because we also worked together when she was previously in PAHO as assistant director, and also in her time in Geneva, where I was also at the time in Geneva. So I know that it is she is very easy to work with. She's a person who loves public health, who has grown up in public health, and she loves contact with people, and that is one of the reasons why also in this mission she insisted that first of all every time that we go to a country, she always wants to go to a health center. She always wants to see how the people are accessing the public health system, are accessing the primary healthcare system.
In related news, primary health care was born from the adoption of the Declaration of Alma Ata in 1978, first for third world countries. In 1981, Dr. Carissa Etienne was director of primary health care when the initiative was first tested in La Plaine. She is now known as a pioneer. As director of the Pan American Health Organization, 34 years later, Dr. Etienne, on her first official visit to Dominica, observed primary health care in La Plaine, where it all began. Based on her findings, Dr. Etienne is gratified by the level of care, service, and passion existent in the La Plaine Health District.
You continue to demonstrate. Continue to demonstrate that you know what primary health care is all about, and you make us understand that we were right in choosing La Plaine as the model health because indeed you have remained the model health district. Indeed, I see that you have made advances in prevention and promotion, which are really the bedrock of what healthcare is all about. You have ensured the involvement of the community, without which there is no improved access to healthcare, but no real health.
According to her, Dominica's model of primary healthcare is the envy of many.
I go all over the world and I see them in rich countries, in poor countries, in not so poor countries, middle income, high income, low income, trying to introduce a healthcare system that is based on primary healthcare. And I scratch my head and I say, well, just since the 1980s we did that already. But I see them trying to do the same thing. And ever so often you hear the call for strengthening of health systems based on primary healthcare. I went to PAHO in 2003 and I introduced the renewal of primary health care. And we strengthened primary health care throughout Latin America and many of the Caribbean countries. The Director General heard of what I was doing and she wanted me to come to the global level, to the world stage to strengthen primary health care. Where did I learn anything about primary health care? In Dominica. Not in any book, in Dominica.
Dr. Etienne wants Dominicans and local healthcare practitioners to be aware of this and build on those facts to continue delivering the best care, even at the primary level.
You need to know that you have a health system, that you had a health system that was equal to none. And it was due to the commitment, the passion, and the dedication of the healthcare workers who served. Healthcare workers who didn't care what hour of the night, they were called, they came out. Healthcare workers who were not afraid to walk up the mountains and down the valleys to cross the river to deliver care, to reach out to those who could not come to the health center, to reach out to those who would not come to the health center, and to reach out to those who needed to see a healthcare worker but did not come. And that is what made primary health care the success that it was in Dominica.
At this point, she says the foundation is there. The next step is to rekindle the passion in healthcare workers while all players take steps to get involved.
At the central level, we need governments that will
employ a multi-sectoral approach. An approach that says, you know, when you hear the Minister of Education delivering the speech about health, I say, yes, we have arrived. You know what I'm saying? That's what we need. That's what we need. We need every member of government, including health, in their thinking. Because everything they do will have an impact on health. And that's what the multi-sectoral response is, recognizing that it is together that we must deal with some of the issues and some of the priorities that confront our population. Chronic diseases, violence, road traffic accidents, to name a few, HIV/AIDS. It is only a multi-sectoral response that's going to do this.
We'll bring you more from the director's visit in subsequent newscasts. His Excellency Charles Savre is proposing that the President's Charitable Foundation adopt a charitable organization. This, he says, is in addition to the annual donation that the foundation makes to charitable organizations across the island. He made the remarks at the 12th President's Charities dinner on the weekend.
In addition to the annual donation which the foundation makes to the charities mentioned above, I would like the foundation to identify one charitable organization which we can adopt and assist on a more sustained basis. This would require a greater commitment locally and internationally. One such institution which we are looking at for that type of assistance is Operation Youthquake, which operates a home away from home for the young people who either have difficulties at home or may have had problems with the law.
The President also proposed that from 2016, a Dr. N.J.O. Liverpool Award be given to an individual or business house that has epitomized the charitable works envisioned by the late Dr. Liverpool. The President's Charity Foundation dinner was the brainchild of the late Dr. Liverpool and contributes to 18 charities across Dominica every year at Christmas time. It presents cash donations to the institutions from the proceeds of the dinner. In 2014, the foundation donated $37,750 to organizations. You're watching National Focus. Still to come, teachers participate in intensive HFLE training. Stay with us.
Think water, think life. Water refreshes, restores, cleans, and enhances growth. Potable water is a benchmark for development. The Wasco is serious about its mandate to ensure easy access to potable water island-wide and provide sewage services for a cleaner environment. The Wasco is your water and sewage company.
Welcome back. Teachers are receiving a vital training to instruct students on health and family life education. An intensive training course on the subject began on Monday and will run until Friday, July 10th. The training is aimed at helping teachers provide age-appropriate information to children, particularly around content. It will also address different methods of delivery to increase skills and teacher confidence. Acting Education Officer for HFLE, Rena John Charles, says the training will focus on the 4 strands forming HFLE: the social, emotional, and spiritual well-being, sexuality and sexual health, appropriate eating and fitness, and managing the environment.
HFLE is a core subject in our national curriculum. It is a comprehensive life skills-based educational program that fosters the right values and attitudes in children and youth about their health to enable them to make sound decisions in their lives. HFLE reinforces the connection between health and education. Children need to be equipped with information, knowledge, values, and right attitude and skills to cope effectively with the challenges of everyday life. We see them struggle with academic problems, family problems, peer pressure, bullying, alcohol and drug abuse, physical and sexual abuse, poor self-esteem, anger management issues, STIs, other health and emotional problems, just to name a few. HFLE instills the right values coupled with life skills to help them cope with life experiences and to navigate through life with some measure of success.
She says HFLE focuses on the whole person with its main thrust to improve human development and the quality of life for all.
It aims to increase the awareness in children and youth of the fact that the choices they make in everyday life can profoundly influence their health and personal development into adulthood. In essence, HFLE teaches children how to make healthy choices. HFLE is child-centered so that a lot of classroom time is spent on activities involving students' participation. It has a cognitive and affective component. Students not only have the opportunity to process information which can change attitude and behavior, but students are able to express their feelings and emotions openly.
Senior Education Officer for Curriculum Measurement and Evaluation Unit, Robert Gist, says beginning health education at a tender age can significantly affect the adult lives of these children.
According to UNICEF, Caribbean countries have identified a lot of threats to the health of young people. Some of these include obesity, HIV, unintended pregnancy, especially unintended teenage pregnancy, violence, substance abuse, and suicide. Health education, when effectively delivered, can make a significant contribution in promoting a healthy lifestyle. And we at the ministry realize that if it is started at the early years and continued to early adulthood, our teenage years, it will be much more effective.
The workshop is sponsored by the Ministry of Education in collaboration with UNICEF. In celebration of the Feast of St. Peter's, the village of Anzime held a church service at the Anzime Catholic Church on July 5th. The service was attended by His Excellency the President of Dominica, Charles Savre, and Mrs. Savre, and members of cabinet, among other dignitaries. The church sermon sought to highlight the church as an establishment that is everlasting. Parliamentary representative for the Anzime constituency, Honorable Rosalyn Paul, stated that events such as village feasts is one that encourages community togetherness as well as individual retrospection.
I believe Village Feast offers the opportunity for members of the community and the church, all levels of the community, to come together to pay recognition to the patron saints that is being celebrated, but to also celebrate our heritage. So it is always a day, one day in the year that's given recognition, so that persons can even do some re-introspection. So I hope we can do that, and today is a special feast in recognition of St. Peter.
And that's the English news. McPherson St. Luce is next with Creole highlights.
Did you know the Caribbean Court of Justice is 2 courts in 1? The CCJ has 2 functions: an original jurisdiction, which deals with your right to move between CARICOM countries freely and your right to move your money and your business. This is the basis of the CARICOM Single Market and Economy, CSME, and the revised Treaty of Chaguaramas, and an appellate jurisdiction to hear appeals from courts of those countries which decide to use it as their final court of appeal and no longer go to the Privy Council. All CARICOM member states who have signed the agreement establishing the CCJ are members of the CCJ.
Allô tout le monde, bienvenue à cette nouvelle en créole. Non, moi c'est McPherson St. Luce. Premièrement, travail qui a progressé bien formidable à ces projets appartements en Silver Lake. Ministre Kai, Honorable Reginald Austri, était chef en délégation qui visitait le projet là lundi.
Tout a changé. L'année passée, nous promettons qu'après le gouvernement a fait la première case là, qui nous avons là, nous promettons pour nous continuer le projet là. Parce que nous avons ça fait case, un bagage qui est bien sérieux dans Silver Lake. Et nous avons une belle commune comme ça. Nous avons commencé à transformer en Silver Lake. Et nous avons si nous ranger ça fait case monde, ça c'est commencement là. Et nous avons fait deuxième case là, il y a 6 units à 2 chambres chaque. Comme ça, il y a 12 chambres en case là. Et nous avons 6 familles qui bénéficient hardly. Le projet a fini en octobre et novembre l'année ça. Comme ça, le gouvernement Dominique, nous mettons l'effort pour nous ranger case à Dominique. Pas uniquement Silver Lake tout seul, mais tout mon pays là. Alors nous avons travaillé ranger case pour faire conditions pour nous vivre qui vont plus meilleures.
Ministre Austri, bien plaisir pour ce projet là.
Moi bien content pour voir ça nous avons fait. Nous commençons à peu près 3 mois qui passent et comme on dit, nous avons fini case ça par novembre. Et quand on voit qu'il fait une grande différence en Silver Lake même, et nous savons, nous ne pouvons pas finir parce que ça fait casse, comme on dit, c'est bien grave en place là, mais c'est petit à petit, yon par yon, nous avons essayé comme gouvernement, de nous taper l'argent là, pour nous dépenser l'argent là, à Simon Silver Lake, ça fait casse. Mais ça aussi, ça fait éducation, ça fait santé, tout le monde, nous avons travaillé pour faire la vie mon Silver Lake qui est plus meilleur et moi je dis que ça qui fait une grande différence à la vie mon ici.
En autre nouvelle, Dominique a implémenté législation pour certification pour produits qui sont exportés dans l'autre pays. Parole ça là sorti General Manager Dexter Gregor Thomas au ligne de contrat qui signe pour produire équipement pour pack houses ou là c'est produit ça là qui tape certification.
Nous avons essayé nous avons quoi qui dans l'autre 3 pour 4 mois, nous avons production, nous avons équipement, et bien nous avons ça implémenté, ça nous avons qui est le Fresh Produce Quality and Control Act. C'est une législation qui est passée en 2008, qui a dit tout produit nous avons exporté, nous supposé certified, nous supposé certifié. You supposé passer under PAHO qui Dominican Bureau of Standards, c'est yo qui ni autorité pour certifier produit qui nous a exporté. Actuellement, gouvernement ni des PAHO, so under des PAHO ça là nous qui fait process tout produit qui a passé, tout hucksters, tout exporteur, yo ni pour passer under un PAHO qui certified et puis Bureau of Standards. So, si ça pas fait, c'est mon qui a exporté produit qui a un problème. Parce que ça c'est loi, et bien loi ça là qu'a dit, là nous commençons à implémenter tout produit nous a exporté ni pour passer dans ces facilités ça là.
Et bien finalement, ça fait coopérative très important pour ça fait développement. Parole ça là sorti officier de vision là, M. René Toussaint. Qu'on est vision là, célébrer semaine coopérative, semaine passée.
Coopérative pour diawede au temps mon Dominique. Nous savons pour ça nous créer là diawede au temps mon et ka silwede au temps mon Dominique pour taper l'argent pour bâtir caillou avec nous savons pour les autres nous taper qualité coopérative tout partout Dominique. Nous savons qu'il y a des fisheries coopérative coopérative pour la pêche et nous savons place qu'on sans sauver ces pêches là ont des problèmes pour taper gaz ils ont pour aller épilergique aux eaux pour gagner gaz mais en coopérative commencer là éventuellement yo ka vendre gaz bah c'est pêcher là bah c'est monde qui voiture habiter comme ça so ça amène ça là il y a des communautés là pour ça ces pêcher là puis yo pas gagner pour servir pile là ça là pour aller de l'autre côté gagner gaz là mais yo ka payer même en village yo même ça also en Guantans nous avons coopérative qui vend gaz nous avons en Ozo il y a une AFCOP et also nous avons Fond Saint-Jean qui vend gaz bah c'est pêcher là pour monter jusqu'au Ozo et là on a Pichelin des Pichelin aussi mais ça parle encore so actuellement yo ka payer gaz yo pour en fond Saint-Jean même, so, ces pêcheurs là pour faire grand expense pour aller pêcher encore. So, ça a de autant.
Messieurs, mesdames, ça c'est tout pour nouvelle à Creole pour à présent. Non, moi, c'est McPherson et Luce. Au revoir.
Coming up next, another tip on how to play your part in slowing down climate change. Stay with us.
Did you know the Caribbean Court of Justice is 2 courts in 1? The CCJ has 2 functions, an original jurisdiction, which deals with your right to move between CARICOM countries freely and your right to move your money and your business. This is the basis of the CARICOM Single Market and Economy, CSME, and the revised Treaty of Chaguaramas, and an appellate jurisdiction to hear appeals from courts of those countries which decide to use it as their final court of appeal and no longer go to the Privy Council. All CARICOM member states who have signed the agreement establishing the CCJ are members of the CCJ.
You're watching GIS.
On Monday, we learned about eating wisely by avoiding processed items, since 18% of greenhouse gas emissions come from meat and dairy production. Your tip for today is to keep your waste out of landfills. Garbage buried in landfills produces methane, a potent greenhouse gas. By composting kitchen scraps and garden trimmings and recycling paper, plastic, metal, and glass, you are reducing greenhouse gas emissions and essentially playing your part in slowing down climate change. And that's all for this edition of National Focus. We always welcome your suggestions and comments. Drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm or visit our website, news.gov.dm. Like our Facebook page, facebook.com/GIS News Dominica, and follow us on Twitter at GIS Dominica. You can also catch up on past National Focus newscasts on our GIS Dominica YouTube channel. From all of us here on the GIS News production team, I'm Kimani. Thank you for watching.